Peace FM 104.3.
But for now, I think it's just some decisions that we have not fully activated. The decision of businesses waiting to see the end of Kosu and Sana or Master T implementing some of their business decisions. No, Nina Ekahubi. Obisu say Trump. I don't think Trump has played any role in the stabilization of this currency. Minjindi, because I've racked my brain to see how. But you see the fact that you can say Trump is having trade wars with other countries does not change the fact that the greenback is still the reserve currency. It's still the reserve currency. Until every external transaction you are going to engage in, you engage in dollar. In fact, there is this IMF report last year that indicated the dollar was ceding ground to other non-traditional currencies in global trade. And of course, the United States in India. But it still did not completely weaken the dollar. And a lot of the transactions are still done in dollars. Look, oil trade is the biggest, oil is the biggest commodity traded globally. And gold. I am yet to see anybody trade gold in any other currency apart from the dollar. Usually the quotations are in dollars and what have you. Until dollar is still, the greenback is still the reserve currency. Until I do not see how the trade war between China and the US would impact the dollar in such a way that it would begin to strengthen our currency locally. I think it is some fiscal decisions we have taken locally, and some decisions by the business community Nama as a some of these things. I would caution against early jubilation, because so many things need to be in place to sustain our currency. I mean, the strength of the currency. If we begin importing full scale, look, we'll go back to where we were. I would have thought that this is the time for government to say, look, we have had some stability. What do we do to ensure that this stability becomes a permanent one? Let's have a national conversation about that. Boom. Gutafo Su are saying, well, there appears to be a downward spiral in the value of the dollar against the Cedi. And it should have a reflection on pricing. Kromha, prices in this country are very sticky. What that means is that it takes the lag for the reflection of economic circumstances in pricing very long. It takes a long time for, in Sakrebi Bar, it takes a long time for that to reflect in pricing. Ghana needs a numa koye krana. Obakajo say mikoto nyumei busumi mbae. Until Mrs. Surprise now and meboka. And it's an attitude that we need to also look at. Unfortunately for us, this is a free market economy. You can't control pricing. What I say. Until Gutafo insisting say prices should immediately change because of the change in dollar. No, I think it's a call that I disagree with. Esan say the space of time within which we have experienced this strengthening of the dollar, the window is too narrow for businesses
to be taking such decisions.
What I say, because oyena sabi nyamim fasamba, because dollar na hon in sutia na nebre. I'm praying that we continue to have a sustained, strong, Ghana Cedi. But say, Ekobani say, Nipana send the prices. What ton goods nevi. Before the person goes back, na Jaka sa teaching. Nature said there's going to be a lot of losses due to exchange rate differentials, and that might even eat up the capital. Until I would urge that Yemma coin. Let's tell the monetary, what do they call them? The economic policy elites, the monetary policy authorities and then the fiscal policy authorities, So whatever it is they are doing, even though I feel some of these things are not necessarily some unique policies, but whatever it is, let's give ourselves a quarter or so. If we continue to have a stronger CDR, then we can begin to impress on the traders and everybody else who offers.
Or have a kinky party.
No, Muna Namu, yes, sir. MB4 and a Kingi party. I doubt if NDC. No, I mean, that's the point. What is the need to celebrate? It's actually in the first place an indictment on us. A country such as Ghana, we get excited over small gains. See, what is here? We started with South Korea, and you should maybe a South Korea war. We are now struggling to even keep our currency stable, so that when we even record marginal improvements, party. And I keep saying, sir, I mentioned the point about borrowing and its effect on our exchange rate. When we were under an IMF program, the extended credit facility, way back 2 years, Look, for whatever it is worth, I have my issues with us going through these programs. Conditionality lending always has issues. But if you look at how irresponsible we have been as a country, sometimes here, because if you can't control yourself, you need an external force to control you. And but when we're about leaving the program, a man for watch a party, a Kingi party, a Tubani party, because they felt us is here, we have had our freedom. Now we can go back to engage in SAG, borrowing. What is here? And no account and the could do something because we felt now we are free. Oh, we can access the capital markets. We kept borrowing. You can say, look, we to for say Munjai, the borrowing binge is not helping. So they are doing smart borrowing.
We have capacity to borrow more.
To borrow more. And
if it B plus, what is it? Junk.
No, I mean, junk, they were being charitable. It should have been worse than junk because the economy at the point. Look, today you were not credit worthy anymore.
But I think they wouldn't they were kind, they were seeing physical some honey idea in an Baby, I always see regardless of factors, I'm a easy carriage. Sechna, a bunch as yes, would your contract or servicing foreign debt. Now, MMDC is your munina banner, a bunch capital expenditure. Diana Bayes as well as it and two. Then a baby was see over expect a bind by a senior by a sidino, a ye bit me home.
We need to increase our international reserves.
How do we do that?
You see, I don't know.
Export ball.
Yeah. You see, to increase our international reserves, there are a lot of things we need to do.
Okay.
First, like you said, I say exporting more. We need to saturate our reserves with more gold. Mintia say Ghana. I mean, a gold producing economy like Ghana, and yet Uko share your gold reserves now is nothing to write home about. We do want Mintia say because your gold reserves, a power currency, What you say? They back your currency.
Into your name.
Well, I'm sure they are aware. Everybody knows because this is elementary economics. Obiati has here. What you say?
And I say it could also be say gold, no dear. Because you to go out to me found some caninti. And your liquid wouldn't mean found some.
What is here? Until beer and also can. And we also would have to watch government spending.
Okay.
I've always said, look, when you are faced with a problem like this, there are two options. Either government increases its revenue or rationalizes expenditure.
This FM 104.3. Who to me,